The following is a presentation of iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Under the lights tonight in Volusia County, Florida, here as we are at the Volusia Speedway Park for the third race of LSRTV's continuing coverage of the inaugural Playing in the Mud Sprint Car Series. Happy to have you along, and as always, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to tonight's broadcast. Alongside me, Austin Cooper's Chris Murdoch, and in the production trailer out back, it's Cisco Scarmuza giving you the picture that we get every single week. Chris, we're here at Volusia, and we're getting ready for the B main. We have 10 drivers total entered. They're getting their qualifying laps in, trying to see how they will fare for the B main. 6 drivers are going to be guaranteed the top 6, and we'll have one provisional at the end of this. And we have a lot of interesting folks that are in this B main right now that they were not able to advance through their heats. We got Dakota Bowman and Brandon Chaburko, who are both in the top 11 in points. Brandon Chaburko in 5th. In that number 95 of Dakota Bowman, he is actually in that 11th position in points. It's going to be interesting to see those drivers right now and see how they get through. Doing really well in qualifying right now, though, as they are going to be fighting to try and actually just get points in general for this race coming up here soon.
Yeah, definitely, Coop. And one driver I'm paying attention to here is that 96 machine of Alex Bergeron. He is no stranger to these B mains. He was completely dominant last week at Lakeland, and I don't see him being any threat. Well, not. What I'm going to say is he should be able to make it. He was doing so well. He's sitting pretty comfortable in qualifying right now. He's pretty good in practice throughout the race. So Alex Bergeron should be up there fighting for this one, just like he was last week. He was dominant last week at Lakeland, so he's always looking forward to these B mains.
Yeah, we'll go through your regular points for what would be the A main after this race. Derek Walker did really good not too long ago, last week, but he won the first race. He actually swept the entire all 3 stages, I should say. It has a total of 35 stage points that would add up to a total of 109 points to give him a 30-point lead above William Evans, and then Corey Henry, he's in 3rd, tied with Greg Hooks for that 3rd position. Then Brandon Chaburko just talked about him a little bit ago. He also has quite a bit of stage points as well with 18. That's keeping him from being out of that top 5. And then we have Jordan Erickson, Xavier Andrews, Rod Flagg, Alex Bowman, and then we have Jeremiah Zumwalt rounding out the top 10 here on the points right now.
Yeah, definitely very stacked points as we look through your top 10 and everything. Everybody's just trying to get off to the right start here, Coop. We've only had 2 events here so far, so everybody's just kind of keeping it level, keeping it comfortable. You don't want to push it too hard, or you'll find yourself at the bottom of that list very, very, very fast. So everybody's just trying to get as many points as they can and race as hard as they can. And, Volusia is a very, very, very tricky track. You'll see drivers struggle with this track all night. I saw them struggle just a little bit in practice, and I've heard a few drivers complain about the track state here. So I'll be watching for all these drivers to see how these navigate these tracks in this B main.
It's almost a true oval. I think we can almost say if the front stretch was also round, it would be a complete oval. But the front straightaway is very straight, and then you have the back stretch, which is very curved. And you know, as a sprint car driver, you're always thinking to yourself, well, you're always going to be turning. Well, especially here at this track, there is hardly any straight speed that you would have, except for on the front straightaway. But when you're on that back curve, you're going to be continuously trying to find the best way to get into turns number 3. It's not an easy one, and also getting out of turns number 2 is going to be pretty tricky as well. It's just, this is a really turns 2 and 3 are definitely going to be the different ones for these drivers. It's not your 1 and 2 or 3 or 4, it's your 2 and 3. So continuously the track will change as the night goes on. This will be the easiest, I'd say, the track's going to be all night for this B main. Its qualifying is wrapped up, and we are going to be going through your LSRTV starting grid. Dakota Bowman, he will be getting that pole with a 14.206, barely over Nathan Davis by 2/1000ths of a second. Dakota Bowman really needs to get into that main to keep his points position of 11th. Alex Bergeron, he's going to be starting in the 3rd position with Robert Lynn in 4th, and Brandon Chaburko is going to round out your top 5.
You got starting 6th, Steve Waller in that 67 machine. Gary Champion, 7th, 8th belongs to Ray Rittenauer. 9th, William Evans, and rounding out your B main field in 10th, that's Raymond Evans.
And a rule change that has happened since last week is that the leader will be able to control the restarts. I think that's a really good choice on race control's part. Definitely gives the leader a little bit more advantage, mainly because of the fact that at these dirt tracks, being on the outside side by side is more or less an advantage here, Chris, at any of these dirt tracks that we have provided. Being on the outside, you just get a lot more momentum. It's not like asphalt where at the bottom it's where you want to be because it has sometimes the more grip, but it's the shorter way around. It may be the longer way around for most of these guys, but they would be able to get a huge advantage. Now that leader is going to be really able to be in control of these starts.
Yeah, it definitely gives the leader at least a chance here, Coop, to fight for their position and at least give them a chance, because if you pay attention to the last broadcast, you'll see drivers just push it on the outside, and you'll see them get around there coming out of turns 2. So at least this place, they'll at least allow the leader to get ahead in some form of the way, and we'll get the racing that we all hope to get out of these dirt track races.
A little bit of your track facts here. It is a dirt clay combination surface and a half-mile long, and we will be having a total of 30 laps, which all the races tonight will be 30 laps. So just remember, it'll be 3-0 for every single race, including the B main and all 3 stages later on as they're going to start rolling off. And of course, it's going to have a little bit of banking in those corners as well.
Yeah, definitely. This is, like you mentioned, basically a true oval coupe. It's you're basically turning the whole way around, and you got to watch that turn 4 turn as you're coming off and you're getting out of here. You want to keep it turned just so you don't, because that wall will stick out at you, Coop, and you'll be able to smack that wall coming off of 4 if you're running that outside line. And I think we'll see that later on through the night as the track surface changes. So you got to pay attention to coming out of turn 4, because that will always be the tricky spot for these drivers.
Yeah, last thing you want to do is get into that guardrail. Volusia has a lot of history. It's done a lot of changes, and at one point in its history, it did hold some NASCAR events with the Busch Series before it came back to dirt. So a little bit of a tidbit right there for all the viewers at home. And definitely want to welcome everyone to the B main is what this event's going to be. The top 6, they are going to be in, plus 1 provisional driver based on points, and that number 5 is sitting in a good position. Basically, if he finishes that race, then he'll be doing fine. And speaking of him, he's doing some wheelies down the back straightaway. It is Brandon Chaburko, so I definitely know him to be one person to do that. Looks like they are getting a little bit, they're trying to get stacked up here for the start of this one. Dakota Bowman, he will start these guys here for the B main, and he's already off well before the truck is gone, and he's getting an excellent start, and he's going to get those guys rolling. 2x2 for Brandon Chaburko in 30, and they are off. 30 is actually going to get passed by Chaburko on the inside.
And look at that 96 machine of Alex Bergeron, already moved himself up to 2nd on that start. He was ready for that 95 Dakota Stephen Bowman to hit the gas, and he was able to shoot right around Davis, as you mentioned. There's some battling going on. We got Brandon Chaburko coming on the back bumper of Robert Lynn. He's going to be trying for the inside lane. Not going to quite complete the pass yet, but he's going to get the run off the corner as the 30 hits the wall before.
No slide job needed, but that 30 car is coming right back. Robert Lynn doing everything he can. He's going to get the inside of that number 21, and they're going to make a little bit of contact, and that 30 is almost going to go around, and he's actually going to be able to keep it up, but now he's outside that top 6, all 3 of them. Right behind him, the 67 and the 711, they get into it right there, and the number 30 of Robert Lynn, he's able to keep his position at the moment. And this is the battle for This is the battle to get in. This is exactly what you want to see. Is lap 5 right now is what they're rolling on, and you see how much it really matters to these guys to at least get some bit of points. Look at the 67 and the 711. They're battling knowing that that's the cutoff point right between them.
Yeah, definitely. And Robert Lynn, not off the start he wanted. He's getting hit from all directions here. Coop, he's definitely not where he wants to be going into this race, but he's above the cutoff line. Is the 67 Stephen Waller. Runs it a little bit high coming out to 2. That allows William Evans to get right by him, and he's going to pull away just a little bit. We go up here to our leader, Dakota Stephen Bowman, just over 5/10 ahead of Alex Bergeron. So that restart really did help that 95 machine get out there in the front, and he's able to control this field right now.
Oh, looks like Alex Bergeron's going to get in the pit wall. Humongous damage on that machine, I'm going to be almost 100% sure of. And he's going to get spun around. Gets, clobbered by the 711 of William Evans, who is in that top 6. And both of them are on their sides. It's all basically over for both those drivers. 711 car is going to try and get himself spun around by stomping on the gas. And I don't think it's going to work. We're going to get a replay up here for you.
You see the replay come up on your screen now, Coop, and it was just Alex Bergeron getting too close to that turns 3 and 4 wall as they were coming off. He just basically wheel hops onto the wall, and I don't know what he was thinking about there coming up into the 711. If I was Alex Bergeron, after hitting the wall that hard, I would have just got off the track. But you know, this B main means so much to all these drivers. They want to try and get as much as they can. So I don't really fault him for staying on the track, but definitely an avoidable contact right there.
Yeah, it seems like he was trying to get everything he could out of the corner and completely misjudged it, which is a mistake we've seen actually before in this series. These drivers are trying to get a little bit more than they can chew, and he definitely got a lot of the wall right there. And I don't know if it was all because of the car, or whether he was just on the bottom and pushing up. We'll never really know, but definitely going to be an end to both those drivers' day. Alex Bergeron, William Evans, they're both going to be out, and that actually clears up the field. Ramon Evans did not start the race, so everybody's going to be in for this race. Now it just depends on where they're going to start. And there's a little bit of bragging rights so along with it. You know, you never really want to be in the B main. You always want to be in the A main as the lights are off the pace truck. You really want to win this race, though, if you're in it.
Yeah, definitely. It's always winning's never a bad thing, Coop. You always want to try your best and at least get everything you can out. And even if you do win the speed main, hey, that's a better starting position you have going into this race. So I don't think the racing will even die down here, knowing that all the drivers will get into this race. I feel like it's going to be a little bit harder now that they're fighting for starting position.
A slow 35 miles an hour is that pace speed. We'll see if Dakota Bowman gets another start like he did already. Off again. Green flag actually flew quite early, and so that's going to allow him to once again get a good start right there. Brandon Chaburko, he's going to slide up into that second position and get really close to that wall. At 36 and Nathan Davis is right there, but no contest. That's going to be all Brandon Chaburko as they go side by side for third.
Third place is a battle right now. Robert Lynn, who struggled here at the start, Coop is trying to get on the inside of that 36 of Nathan Davis. He's trying everything he can. You see him getting down there close to that white inside wall, but he's not going to be able to do it this time. He's basically just tailing Nathan Davis as they're going through turns 1 and 2. Not going to be able. Brandon Chaburko slips up a little bit. That's going to allow Nathan Davis to get back on the back bumper.
You can see how much time was lost by that 21 from the guys behind him, and Bowman's just sailing away. He's hoping that these guys fight so he can keep it. We're almost halfway next time by, and I'd say that 21 had a really good grip early on, and now it's starting to just falter a little bit. And I'd say it's never easy to pass that 21, but with the way his car's handling, I'd say if these guys could at least get the inside. Looks like the 30 almost clipped the 36 right there, and he's going to go on the outside. 30's doing really well, and it appears that maybe the 21 has an issue because he's definitely not able to drive that car as much as he wants to. Say, keep that back. 21 on the inside is going to get that position back.
Yeah, definitely. He's battling for that position right now. Coop going down the back into 3. Nobody's wanting to give up any inches. You see Brandon Chaburko pull the slide drop crossover by Nathan Davis, going down into 1. He's going to get the position back, and he goes into the back of Nathan Davis. Ramsden, that's going to allow Robert Lynn to get by both of those drivers. Brandon Chaburko definitely not happy with the 36 of Nathan Davis. Gave him a little bump to let him know.
And guess who came on top of that? Past 2 cars. It's going to be the 30 of Robert Lynn, which is really, really impressive for that guy, and did a really good job of making sure that he was in the right place, right time, and let those guys duke it out when under the bottom while they were trying to do some crossover moves. And Chaburko is right in front of where he started. And I do want to mention that those two drivers involved in the accident, they did come down, get their quick repair, and they're back out. So if anything happens with these front guys and they're out of the race, these guys at the very back do have a small chance. We're going on lap 21, so it's got to happen soon for those guys. Otherwise, Bergeron and Evans are going to be out. We already said they were, but there is that small chance for if anything happens on this racetrack or if anyone disconnects, there's going to be that spot that they can get.
Yeah, definitely. And it happened now. 10 laps to go. Under 10 laps to go now. Dakota Stephen Bowman, no contest for that driver. He's 1.6 seconds ahead of the field, and he's just basically driving it and coasting it at this point. Everybody else trying to battle as hard as they can. Brandon Traburko dropping back a few positions. He's now surrendered the 4th place position to Stephen Waller, so that puts Brandon Traburko at the 5th place position, and not really going to have any much challenge out of Gary Champion, though, so he might be able to ride this out for the final 10 laps.
Yeah, I'd say he's pushing the car just maybe a little too much, as you're seeing him really push right there in turns number 2. And you gotta wonder, he did get involved with a little bit of a tangle with the guys in front of him earlier, but it isn't really 100% affecting the car now. Maybe just in traffic is not handling as well. And definitely talk about that number 67, the Stephen Waller, up 2 positions, and then of course Robert Lynn up 2 positions from what happened earlier. Really 5 laps to go this time by is going to be quite the smooth sailing for that number 95 of Dakota Bowman. He's just got a few more laps, just really has to keep a patient wheel and just get the job done here.
And we're, approaching this race. Volusia, very, very tricky track, but it's also a very, very short track. These, short track racing, dirt track racing, that's all what Thursday nights are about. So we're about done as the 30 clips the wall and goes around. He clips the outside wall coming out of turn 4. He's up, and that's going to be the caution that ends it, Coop. Very, very, very unfortunate for that 30 machine as he's trying to get it turned around, but he just cannot. Very, very, very late mistake in this race.
Yeah, Popsicle sticks at the stand last time, even though we're going to be under caution while it goes. Replay going to be coming up for what happened to that 30. Just got caught in the wall right there, and if the wall didn't catch him, he might have been able to keep going. It's not going to be, he's still going to finish in the top 7. However, he's going to be laps down, which means it's still going to, I think, come up to who's that provisional driver. So that 30 could have just coasted the rest of the way, and it almost as a woulda, coulda, shoulda at this point for that 30. So we'll just have to see where Robert Lynn lands with this provisional, where it happens, where it goes. White flag up this time by, but we'll see what happens to Dakota Bowman. I think we're doing a little bit of destroying a little bit of their cars here, as watching Traburko to absolutely destroy the 36's back bumper. But Dakota Bowman, he's going to get the job done and started up front, really got it done, and he'll get the checkered flag at the start-finish line.
I don't know if that's play or not here, Coop, because we saw earlier that Brandon Traburko wasn't happy with Nathan Davis with how he completed that pass, and it basically bent Brandon Traburko out of shape for the rest of the race and caused him to lose more positions. So Brandon Traburko backing off that 36 now, but he was all over that 36 back bumper while you were mentioning it, and he's going to drive up to him now and maybe not do anything. He's going to turn him. So very, very late turmoil, almost turn him. Very late turmoil going into this one as Brandon Traburko's all over that 36 machine.
As that exciting action goes on, we do want to congratulate Dakota Bowman for winning this race, though. He very easily won it, started first, and ended it that way. And we do want to give a good pat on the back. It would quietly but surely got the job done. Full race rundown is going to be that 95 winning the B main here, and then we have Nathan Davis. He finished 2nd place. Brandon Traburko finished 3rd. Gary Champion finished 4th, and Ray Rittenauer the 2nd. He finished out the top 5.
That 6th place and the last car on the lead lap belongs to Stephen Waller. Robert Lynn 7th, 8th Alex Bergeron, and William Evans rounds out your field.
Well, as this race concludes, another one will open, and we will start the A main 3-stage race here on LSRTV. You're not going to want to miss any of the action. As we come back from this short commercial break, we'll bring it to you, and we'll see you on the other side. See you soon.
I exceeded really enjoy dirt racing. Feels good to get in the car, and we have great cars and engines and things at KKR, so it's nice to drive a fast sprint car.
Couple of separate lines developing, three wide action on a turn two. Craig Kinzer, Casey Kane, and Kieran Pittman going at it.
I think the differences between NASCAR and the sprint races on dirt is just a much different mindset. The way you drive your cars, the setup, the feel you're looking for. I think one of the hardest things to tell as a fan is when you're watching a race, whether it's a NASCAR race, a dirt race, is just what's really going on in the cars. With iRacing, you can get the way that the track's changing, which they've done a great job in how the track changes throughout the night or throughout the race, just to try to capture it and let the fans play it and realize, like, man, there's actually a lot going on, and you can't always see that when you watch a race. So I think it's pretty neat. It's enjoyable for me, but at the end of the day, it's actually much of a simulation, and there's a lot of ways that you can learn from that. And early on, it was neat to look at the Cup tracks that I was going to, places that I had never been. So I think it kind of gives you a head start leading into a weekend. It's pretty real life, and that's pretty neat.
So cool, yeah. Nate, what are you working on at the moment?
So I'm working on the animation for the game. We're working on getting pit crews fully developed, and that involves a lot of moving parts. So I'm going in and making sure that each moving part can dovetail smoothly into the next one, so that when you pull in for a pit stop, it looks like the real thing, as opposed to a bunch of jumbled pieces that suddenly stop and then go and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so cool, but why aren't you working on the tire model? Nothing? There are 3 different paths if you want to call yourself a world champion of sim racing. NASCAR, open wheels, or endurance racing. But no matter which one you take, you can guarantee that the journey will always be tough, which few will ever complete. The iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, the premier road racing series in sim racing, started with a new car taking center stage. Then, it was Martin Kroenke resisting any challenge thrown at him to break the 5-year stranglehold of Gregor Hutu as being world champion. These drivers and teams are not just competing for pride, they're competing for money. And with over $20,000 in prizes for each of the series up for grabs, drivers really do put it all on the line.
The NASCAR Beginner for Series powered by iRacing is the premier NASCAR eSports series featuring the cars and tracks from the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. The 2016 campaign saw a return to the top of the mountain by Ray Alfalla as a 3-time Oval World Champion. The march to that championship was not easy though, despite the fact that Ray Alfalla took home the most points in series history. It just also happened to be the tightest championship fight we had ever seen. These guys are set for the 2017 campaign.
The Blancpain GT Series hosts the top GT3 endurance teams in sim racing, with groups of 3 or more drivers sharing the wheel. This is a championship you can't win alone, and you need the same determination, passion and drive from your teammates to be successful. They often say that it takes just one mistake to lose a championship, and in team racing, it may not be your mistake that costs you the win. Last season, VRS Coanda Simsport won the championship by a single point. This year, who will step up to the plate?
These are the iRacing eSport World Championships, the pinnacle of sim racing competition. Catch it all season long with live coverage on iracing.com/live.
It was interesting this morning to come out here and get on the track and look closely at how rubber was starting to kind of take to the track, you know, where there were ruts and spots that looked still like dirt, and other spots were super shiny and had a bluish tint.
We scanned this track twice because we needed to be able to measure the differences between the track before it's raced and after it's raced. With dirt track racing, the dynamics of the track change dramatically once it's raced on throughout the race. And by scanning it beforehand, we were able to gain a baseline that we're now able to compare with the scan from after the race. Take a look at the cushion, see where it's built up, see how deep it is, and try to figure out some of these variables that we'll have to account for when we create our digital representations of dirt racing and dirt tracks. Our associate producer, Kevin Einarelli, was actually quite the soldier, and he stayed here all night scanning so that we could get this second scan, because in the morning after the race, they ripped the track up. So the window that we have to collect that data is very limited. So thanks, Kevin. So we had a similar approach with the photography of this track that we had with the laser scan. We photographed it twice. So we were able to get in here right before the race started, right after all the trucks had finished running the track in, and take reference photography of the track. And then we returned today and took another set of reference photography, and we took photos of all the various elements that we need to account for: the cushion, the groove, the areas of the groove that have received rubber, and the apron. And we have a specific technique that we use to take these shots. We are using something called photogrammetry. What photogrammetry is essentially the science or a method which will allow us to take photographs and extract three-dimensionality from them using common elements between the photographs. And it's a great technique to create textures for our racing sim, and it's something we've been doing for a while, but it's especially helpful with dirt because of the three-dimensional characteristics of the dirt and the way it collects. So it's a really good technique, and it should result in a great looking racetrack.
A lot of what I'm seeing kind of confirms what we already believed and already knew and have already started working on. So, my plan is to get together with Dave Kamer and get in detail about what's going on between the tire and the road, because the ruts seem to be a significant piece of the puzzle, where the rubber shows up on top of the ruts. So getting the tire grip correct on a track that has as much variation as a dirt track does is going to be key.
We know that every racetrack, every dirt racetrack is unique. Different soil compositions, different color, different types of grooves developed depending on the different types of cars. So this process that we've gone through this weekend is not going to be a one-off thing. We're going to do it again, increase our knowledge, and we'll take that knowledge home with us, and it will help us create a better version of these tracks in iRacing.
Racing, you wanted the best, you got them for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Welcome back to Volusia Speedway Park as we had just closed up the B main and we're getting ready for the A main of tonight's feature race here at Volusia. Well, we'll be doing 3 stages tonight, all 30 laps, and we crowned Dakota Bowman the winner of the B main, so he'll be making it along with 6 other drivers to make this field tonight, and it's going to be quite a good show, so you're not going to really want to miss this one. And practice is going underway. The guys are getting the track slicked up, getting ready to go. It was just being prepped a little bit longer to prep the track than normal, but definitely got it away and doing everything that they can. Remember, qualifying is already done, so all they got to do is wait on one more car to enter the track, and they'll be on our way, Chris. But Dakota Bowman, he has topped the practice, and he won the B main. Maybe think that we have a little bit of momentum going for that number 95.
Yeah, definitely. He seems to be on a very, very big momentum run right now. And who wouldn't be after dominating like he did in that B main? Definitely a driver to watch in the A main. This is where it all comes down to. This is where all the magic happens, and this is where it counts, Coop. So I'll be looking for a lot more hard racing out of that driver.
Go through your points again as we did earlier. Of course, Derek Walker, he's leading the points right now, 109 points right now. He actually just topped Dakota Bowman's time right there, and he's going to be starting off a lot higher than Bowman, so it'll be a little bit easier for him to navigate through the field. William Evans second, Corey Henry third, tied with Greg Cooks for that position. Brandon Chaburko's in fifth. We have another tie for 6th place, Jordan Erickson and Xavier Andrews, and Rod Flagg, he's in 8th place. Alex Bowman 9th, and Jeremiah Zumwalt, he is in 10th, tied with Dakota Bowman at 59 points. And as this practice session is starting to get to a close here soon, we want to talk about those stage points. You wonder, with stage racing, you see it in the NASCAR divisions. Now we're seeing it in this dirt series. They're going to do those three stages tonight. They're going to get 10 total points if you win the first 2 stages, and then 50. So you can walk away with a big handful of points at the end of the day. And those stage points are really, really important. The guy who has the most, Derek Walker, he just happens to be the guy leading the points. And then Xavier Andrews and William Evans, they both have 20 and are in second on the stage points list.
Yeah, definitely points are where it always comes down to, and you always get the big points at the end. Segment 3 is where all the points amount up to. You get the most points out of any driver, but definitely winning those segments never hurt.
Yeah, and I can't forget about last week's winner of Jordan Erickson, who did a fantastic job and kind of making an upset as Xavier Andrews. He was not able to seal the deal as Derek Walker was the week before to get all 3 stages. Xavier Andrews got the first 2, but was not able to get the big money purse. And it's really a bummer when you think about how dominant that car was. And when it came to stage 3, Erickson really came out to play and definitely did a good job, but it did not appear that he is going to make tonight's race. So as well as he did last week, he will not be able to back that up, and so it's going to be quite a little bit of a disappointment for that machine. And we'll maybe see him next week, maybe not. And it's going to be interesting to see how Andrews and Erickson fare, as they really kind of surprised us for as dominant as Walker was the week before.
Yeah, definitely. And Walker's basically been really consistent throughout the week, so he's definitely not doing anything wrong on his win. And Walker's going to be one of the drivers that I'm looking out for here tonight, Coop, to make some big plays here at Volusia. He's always making the A main. I don't think I've ever seen him once in the B main, so he's always trying to stay up there. He's really fast, and that's going to be probably my pick for tonight.
That's never a bad idea to pick the guy who's leading the points, has a win on the season, and has the most stage points. Now, he did fall out of the top 5 last week, but he made a humongous mark. Did a fantastic job last week. Just kind of fell short at the very end, just like a few other guys. But talking about this top 10, really your top 11 since they are tied. But you have to wonder about some of these guys that are really lurking in that top 10. but not really making a whole lot of noise. Alex Bowman and Ron Flagg are 2 drivers in particular, not the NASCAR superstar sensation that might come to be, but just the regular Alex Bowman that's here in the sim. And then you have Rod Flagg, of course, in charge of the lead. Those 2 are only separated by 1 point from 8th and 9th, so it could be that these 2 are going to be starting to really go up towards the front here, towards this for this last for the A main, I should say. Especially Rod Flagg is really consistent here at these tracks so far.
Yeah, and Coop, and another driver I also want to point out, that 99 machine of Kelly Dahl. You know, we see him sometimes up in the broadcast booth with him, but I just want to take a minute and talk about him as a driver. He's a very consistent driver, especially at the last 2 events we've had at Eldora and USA. He was always up there towards the front, towards the end, but never got it done just because of how unlucky he's been these past few weeks. He's always been caught up in another wreck that maybe necessarily wasn't his fault, so he's had a little bit of a bad luck streak. He's looking to bounce back here at Volusia as we get ready to go here.
And he made the A main on his own, and he's going to start in 11th position. But we'll go through your full field rundown from top to bottom. And Derek Walker, you talked about him. You said he was going to be your pick. Well, he's also starting from the pole. He won his heat, as did Corey Henry, Alan Joyal, I should say, and Rodney Wofford. They won their heat, so they're going to be starting 1, 2, 3, 4. Seth the Merchant, he'll start in that 5th position. Xavier Andrews, 6th. Trevor Trigo, he'll start in the 7th position. On his outside, Casey Milano starting in that number 92 machine from the 8th place position. Brandon Cruz Monsivais starts from the 9th position, and Juan Lopez, he'll start in that 10th position.
And you mentioned that Kelly Dahl going to be starting 11th. 12th goes to Raymond Evans. 13th, Rod Flagg. Greg Hooks going to be 14th. 15th belongs to Alex Bowman. 16th, Dakota Stephen Bowman. 17th, Nathan Davis. 18th belongs to that 21 machine of Brandon Chaburko, Gary Champion. 19th. 20th is Ray Rittenhoff. 21st, Stephen Waller. And rounding out your field for the night, Coop, that's going to be the 7-11 machine of William Evans.
Yeah, big field, 22 drivers. Looks like a few did not make it, but may make the second stage. We'll just have to see how those drivers fare. Having some mechanical issues possibly, so we'll get around to talking about those drivers if they do get to the second event, the second stage. I said they're only missing out on 10 points possible, but starting position is pretty crucial. Anybody outside the top 10, it's not a worthless finish if you don't finish in the top 10, especially if you started the back and started to come up the front. I think that's something that some of these drivers and a lot of the audience members might be wondering about these stages. That's why it's so important.
Yeah, definitely, Coop. As we get ready to start off here, it's just anybody's game at this point. As you mentioned, the driver who really dominated last week is not going to be here tonight, which is very unfortunate for us because we don't have anybody leading into this race. Normally we'll have somebody like Derek Walker. Last week we led into him from Eldora, who dominated at Eldora. This week we don't really have anybody that we can lead into. It's basically going to be anybody's race. Of course, you got your points leader on the pole, Derek Walker, as we pretty much talked about him all night here, Coop. It's going to be anybody's race. Volusia is definitely one of those tracks where anything can happen.
Yeah, first race here for these drivers is the pace truck is going to make that trip down pit road. Leader gets to decide when they go, and he's going to go right now. Big start from him, and the new starting rule is really going to pay off for that leader. And the guy in second, they're going to get a little bit strung out. Derek Walker first, Corey Henry second, and look at the guys behind him. They're going to be 2x2 going to turn number 3.
Yeah, definitely. And I've seen a trend here, Coop. Every one of these leaders who's been the leader on these starts and on these restarts has always went. As soon as they see that nose on that pace truck duck in, they're not wasting any time here. Maybe somebody will be able to catch on in the later segments, or maybe even in the later stages if there's a caution. But now we got side-by-side battle for the 32 and 7. That's Rodney and Wofford and Seth the Merchant on the inside here. Not going to be able to make the pass. He was almost going to slide up into that 7 machine.
Merchant trying the inside line. It may slip away a little bit later, but it's starting to work right now. He's able to get a bit side by side, but the outside's really being able to power off. He has to defend his position, and he has to stay low. Looks like this top 6 or 7 drivers, looks like 8 drivers have pulled away. Kelly Dahl is going to be that 9th place driver, up 2 positions. Looks like we had a little bit of an incident behind these guys, but there's a lot of drivers right behind Dahl that are really hungry, really all over the place, and that's a lot of battles right there. But the battle for 7th between that 92 Casey Malone and Trevor Triga starting to get a little bit of dicey as well. Triga's going to really power in right there, but not going to be able to make any work of it.
Yeah, and now we got the 00 of Xavier Andrews trying to battle with Seth the Merchant. Seth the Merchant was falling off a little bit on Rodney Wofford. Now he seemed to catch back up. So we got a nice little pack of maybe 4 or 5 drivers right here that can basically get anything they want. Trevor Trigo being the tail end of that pack. So Seth the Merchant going to try to get back up to Rodney Wofford right now. He's going to try to leave Xavier Andrews in his dust, and he's going to pull up as Rodney Wofford had a little bit of trouble going into 3 and 4. They're not going to be able to slam it back down inside like he wanted to. Now he forfeits that position. 4th place to Seth the Merchant.
Perfect execution for a ill-timed entrance by that number 7, so move DeMerchant up 1 position, and that's a hard one. You're 9 laps in, going to 10 this time, and when it takes that many laps to just get 1 position, I'd say the racing is going to be a little bit more strung out, or packed up, but it's still really difficult to pass. I'd say the track's really worked in, but these guys, the top and the bottom, work almost they're in an exact same manner of speed total, except for, of course, exit speed. But the bottom is really working out for some of these guys, and the top 3 is still as follows, and there's a good gap between them. And anybody outside this top 10, they've been really working around. Look at Kelly Dahl in the 13. They get into each other. That's Juan Lopez. He's wanting a spot. He's going to get under Kelly Dahl right now, and that bottom may just work. He's going to slide up, and it's not going to work out. Kelly Dahl keeps his position.
Yeah, now Greg Hook's going to look to capitalize on the 13th poor exit of that corner. He's going to slide up into the 98 machine. Contact between the 98 and the 13. They're still going, though. We go up here. We jump forward to your leader up here, and we're starting to see that restart rule come into effect here tonight, Coop. Nobody's able to touch the leader once they get going. As a caution comes out, I'm going to have to eat my words.
Ramon Evans, who got the provisional 83, I should say, and he's going to be involved. And it's going to smack the inside wall. Definitely try to get that car turned, but these cars don't turn right very well, and he smacked right there in the inside wall.
Yeah, definitely, and it's always that he got up in the outside wall, like I mentioned, coming up here into out of turn 4, coming right there. I told you the wall would be a problem because you're carrying so much speed out of these corners, and you see him just halfway down the straight. He's just going to slam the wall and send around, and then just out of frustration, I guess he just slams the gas coupe and puts more damage on that car. So very, very unfortunate, but that's going to stack everybody up on front, which is probably what everybody else except for Derek Walker wants to happen right now.
Yeah, I think anybody in the top 5 included would not really want to be in that, didn't really want the caution, because remember, we're going to 30 laps of stage 1, and then we'll go to stage 2, or they'll still be in the same starting order, so it's not as big of a deal. It's not like it's the end of the race, but it would be nice to get another another position or 2. So Cruz Monsivais, he had some issues starting, so he's going to be only 1 lap down now, as it looks like he was supposed to start 9th, but something did not happen with that team, so he's going to start 1 lap down. And then Derek Walker, Corey Henry, Alan Joyle, they'll still be your top 3. Then the 2 that change positions, Seth the Merchant and Rodney Wofford, will round out your top 5. 2 by 2 is what they roll out of turn 2.
Yeah, definitely, and it looks like I think they have waved Brandon Cruz Monsivais around the pace car racing controller, going to give him a break and let him go for that. So I think they're going to try to get him by and get him on the lead lap now. So he's up here as we're getting ready to go back green here. Everybody's doubled up.
We'll see when the 20 goes again. Typically, we see pretty early in any dirt race that we see, and he's going to hold him back and then really launch off the corner. Gets 3 car lengths between them, and we're back green at Volusia.
Yeah, and Derek Walker off to the same start he had last week. Going to pile off as we go back to the 00 of Xavier Andrews, who's trying to get the pass down on him. Seth the Merchant not going to be able. He's going to be fighting off the 122 machine now, and that's Alan Joyle, as I should say. He's going to power off the corner and get away from that 122. Still trying to battle for that that 3rd place position, I should say, with Seth the Merchant. Seth the Merchant's trying to track down Corey Henry.
move Kelly Dahl up 2 positions from a well-executed pass, but now he's fighting with the 7. We have another caution. It's going to be in turns 1, I do believe. Maybe Ramon Evans again. No, it's going to be Brendan Traburko, 21. And also it's going to be Dakota Bowman, who won the B main. So 2 B main drivers that made it through are going to have issues here.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to see the replay come up on your screen. We're going to get into the turn right here. And basically, I think just lose it off of the 17, it looks like, and just get turned around. Brandon Chaperko did, and definitely unfortunate. These drivers are driving on such a tight track here, Coop. We mentioned it earlier. You're constantly turning, and it's such a tight track. You're gonna make some. You're gonna have a little bit of an issue with spatial awareness, I guess I should say, and that's what we're seeing right here. You're just not sure on the spacing of those 2 cars, and it sent the 21 machine around.
Yeah, it looked like he dove the corner pretty well, and then Dakota Bowman got some serious airtime right there, and it looks like the stage is not going to be it for him. He may go lap down. We'll just have to see. It's not. You don't have a lot of time to really get these cars fixed under caution. These pace laps are really quick here at the dirt tracks. Only have about 35 laps of competition per stage. So get that work fixed up pretty quick and try and get back out there as soon as possible, because before you know it, we'll be 2 by 2 as we are now as the pace car or the pace truck's lights go off.
Yeah, and they're going to double them up. You mentioned some big movers so far. Kelly Dahl from 11th to 6th. And we got the Greg Hooks in the 98, 14th to 9th, 17th to 10th. That's Nathan Davis right behind him. So a lot of these drivers making some good moves here is where, approaching 10 laps to go, 35 lap segments, it looks like here tonight, Coop. So approaching 10 laps to go, everybody trying to get them the most they can out of this segment.
Restart about to happen. Pace truck down and away to the safety at pit road, and we're going to have the green flag, and he does not get as good of a restart as he did last time, and it looks like the Merchant's going to be able to follow him through. 12's going to be the big loser. He might lose another one before this one is all over.
Yeah, he's got a battle between him and Xavier Andrews. Kelly Dahl and Alan Joy will make some contact coming out of the corner there. That's going to stack them up and allow the 92 machine of Casey Malone trying to get by them. Kelly Dahl on the wall hard as he's flipping down the multiple drivers getting into contact.
And Kelly Dahl, bad luck strikes again. Maybe we should just stop talking about him, but that number 99 is going to have some big issues, and I think he's been wrecked in every single stage one, and he's actually, the car is really damaged right now. He's not hardly able to get it back to the pits right now, and he's going to have to take a tow back. So bad luck strikes again. He was doing so well, and that guy cannot catch a break. Doesn't matter whether he's in the Dirt Series or in the Super Speedway Cup Series.
Yeah, and that restart was not the best for one Corey Henry, and that 12 machine dropped 2 positions on that start. That's going to bump Seth the Merchant Xavier Andrews up a position. So definitely not the way the 12 wants this to go, especially now with 10 laps to go here under caution. Seth the Merchant on the outside now. He seemed to get the 20's number on that start, was able to follow him through that restart, but on the outside, that's a whole different number here, Coop. So you're going to have to try to figure out what you can do, especially because this might be the final restart.
Yeah, and looking at that last replay, it looked like he got into the back. It looked like the 92 of Casey Malone, and then just had hardly any control once he actually had contact. So that happens when you have one of these cars turn right on you. You know that you've done something pretty bad to the front end of the car. So car really couldn't turn. We're going too wide once again. Possibly the last restart of the night. We'll have under 10 laps to go here at Volusia Speedway Park as we are on lap 27. Derek Walker is still lead. Seth the Merchant, humongous charge from him. It doesn't seem like much to get 3 positions, but when you're going against some of the best of this league, it is still a pretty good feat. Xavier Andrews up 3 positions as well. Corey Henry's in that 4th position, and then Alan Joyle, he's down 2 positions. So the top 5 is pretty stacked as it was earlier on in the race. Pace truck about to make its way down, and when will Corey Henry go? He goes now. Green flag in the air, and a little bit of an easier start for that guy in P number 3 and 2.
Yeah, definitely. Derek Walker off to the best of starts that he could possibly get out of this. He had Seth the Merchant all over the back bumper on the last one. He's going to have a little bit of breathing room as they kind of straighten out here. You got a little bit of a gap between the drivers here. It's a little bit of breathing room as you see Xavier Andrews getting on the back. Big wreck in the back of the pack.
That's going to be Rodney Wofford in that number 7 car. He's up and over right out of corner number 2. It looks like the 17 got into him. That's Trevor Trigo, and up and over he went, and he got knocked by a couple drivers. And oh my goodness, what a tumble that number 7 took. That's got to be a little bit of dizzying there in the sim. Thank goodness that's not real life, because we would really be worried about that guy. But thankfully in the sim, no issues, bodily harm, except for maybe your eyes just a little bit. But that driver going to have to take a tow. Not a final restart. We're going to get a final shot at here. Maybe a 1 or 2 lap run here is going to be what we're going to see.
Yeah, and just to get into the technicality of things here, Coop, it looked like the 17 may have over-rotated that sprint car just a little bit, had the rear end kick out just a little bit too much on him, and that allowed Rodney Wofford to plow right into the back of it, sending him straight up into that outside wall. So it's very easy to over-rotate these cars, especially now that we're still so fairly new to dirt. It's only been out for a few weeks, so everybody's still trying to get used to it. And it's definitely really, really easy to over-rotate the cars, especially these sprint cars.
Yeah, and we'll just have to see. It's not on dirt. We see that the cautions are a lot shorter. We haven't exactly pinpointed when the point of no return is, but I'd say once we get the green flag, it's going to be basically it. Asphalt versus dirt. We're seeing some slightly different numbers of pace laps, so it's actually creating a little bit more action, a little bit more fun here on the dirt, and definitely not eating away at those laps. Sometimes it does happen on the asphalt side of things. So Derek Walker once again matched up with Seth the Merchant, done a really good job getting up there, but don't forget about that 00, who had 2 stage wins last week, and that 00 he did really well last week, and we'll see if anybody can really knock off Derek Walker as he did so well 2 weeks ago. And you're seeing them jockeying for a little bit of position. Pace truck's on his way. Looks like they're actually touching right there at the first 2 positions. Seth DeMerchant doesn't get a good start, and the 20 is going to get 3-4 car lengths in front. DeMerchant gets a really bad start. 00's on the bottom. He's going to make a little bit of contact with these guys. It's going to be 2 laps to go here at the start as they're going side by side for second.
Yeah, and that might as well be all she wrote for the lead here. Derek Walker off to an amazing start. Basically caught Seth the Merchant sleeping on that restart there. Coop and basically driving away from the field as we got a battle between the 92 and the 00. That's Casey Malone and Xavier Andrews battling for that 3rd place position. Corey Henry waiting back just behind.
White flag is displayed. No caution going to end this one. Battle for 4th still ensuing, but you can't forget about the leader, Derek Walker. He started first, and he will complete the first stage as the leader. So give 10 points. Derek Walker will win stage number 1, and he will start on the pole for stage number 2 here, Chris. And you picked him for tonight's race, and he's done all but back up that first win there at Eldora here tonight.
Yeah, definitely led every single lap of segment 1 and looking to pick up where he left off 2 weeks ago at Eldora, like you said, and he's definitely showing some promise here tonight.
Number 20 is in victory lane, doing a little bit of a wheelie and going to smack the outside wall trying to do so. I don't think we've exactly perfected the wheelie yet here in the sim, but 20 is doing a little bit of something different. But we'll go through your full field results as we are going to set up for the second stage of the A main. Derek Walker gets 10 points, and he'll get that first position. Seth the Merchant 9 points for second, and so on and so forth, with the 3rd place of Casey Malone. Xavier Andrews holds on to 4th place under heavy fire from Corey Henry, who gets that top 5 position. Alan Joyle falls back to 6th place. Trevor Trigo, I should say, finishes where he started in 7th. Greg Hook's going to finish in the 8th position. William Evans finishes 9th, up from 22nd. And Nathan Davis, he's going to finish out in that top 10 position of 10th.
Juan Lopez in that lucky number 13 is going to be 11th. Alex Bowman 12th. 13th belongs to Brandon Traberco. 14th belongs to Ray Rittenauer. Dakota Stephen Bowman's 15th. 16th Gary Champion. Stephen Waller 17th. 18th. And your last car on the lead lap, that's the 10 of Rod Flagg. Raymond Evans is going to be 19th. 20th is going to be Brandon Cruz, Montevice, Kelly Daw. 21st, and rounding out your field, that's 7 of Rodney Wofford.
And you can't forget about those guys who did wreck. They will be able to get back into the thick of it for the next stage. They will be starting from the pits. It's also an alteration to the rules, and so forth. So as we congratulate Derek Walker on that first win of 3 stages, we will go to the second one here after another short commercial break. And we'll see you on the other side of things for stage 2 of the A main here at Volusia Speedway Park.
The NASCAR Beginner for Series, powered by iRacing, is the premier NASCAR esports series featuring the cars and tracks from the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. The 2016 campaign saw a return to the top of the mountain by Ray Alfalla as a 3-time NASCAR World Champion. The march to that championship was not easy, though, despite the fact that Ray Alfalla took home the most points in series history. It just also happened to be the tightest championship fight we had ever seen. These guys are set for the 2017 campaign, and as it has been for the 7 years prior, it is no longer going to be a straight shot to the championship. We are going to see the biggest change in this championship picture in series history, as for the first time ever, there will be a chase for the championship. We're going to go into the Homestead Miami Speedway at the end of the season with the 4 best oval sim racing drivers in the world absolutely tied in the championship. You just got to beat the other 3 guys out and you will become an official NASCAR champion. You're going to get yourself a NASCAR championship ring and, of course, $10,000. These are the iRacing Esport World Championships, the pinnacle of sim racing competition. You can catch it all season long, live coverage on iRacing.com/live.
Really enjoy dirt racing. Feels good to get in the car, and we have great cars and engines and things at KKR, so it's nice to drive a fast sprint car.
Couple of separate lines developing, three wide action on a turn two. Craig Kinzer, Casey Kane, and Garrett Pittman going at it.
I think the differences between NASCAR and the sprint races on dirt is just a much different mindset. The way you drive your cars, the setup, the feel you're looking for. I think one of the hardest things to tell as a fan is when you're watching a race, whether it's a NASCAR race, a dirt race, is just what's really going on in the cars. With iRacing, you can get the way that the track's changing, which they've done a great job in how the track changes throughout the night or throughout the race, just to try to capture it and let the fans play it and realize, like, man, there's actually a lot going on, and you can't always see that when you watch a race. So I think it's pretty neat. It's, enjoyable for me, but at the end of the day, it's actually much of a simulation, and there's a lot of ways that you can learn from that. And, early on, it was neat to look at the Cup tracks that I was going to, places that I had never been. So I think it kind of gives you a head start leading into a weekend. It's pretty real life, and that's pretty neat.
And we welcome you back here as Derek Walker's on top of the board for the start of segment 2, commanding the lead from segment 1. He was dominant, but before we get started on the grid here, I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor. Coverage of the Playing in the Mud Sprint Car Series is brought to you by Joe Roll Timing, the official timing software of LSRTV. Whether you spend your time on the sim behind the wheel, on the pick box, or from the spotter stand, JRT is the go-to software for iRacing timing and scoring analytics. Get yourself a basic download or go to the pro version today at joe-real-timing.com. Derek Walker going to be starting up on the pole as your segment 1 winner. Seth the Merchant's going to be second. Casey Malone third. Fourth belongs to Xavier Andrews. Corey Henry's fifth. Sixth, Alan Joyle. Seventh belongs to Trevor Trigo. Greg Hookson. Eighth, ninth, William Evans. And rounding out your top 10, that's Nathan Davis.
Juan Lopez starts 11th with Alex Bowman right beside him. And 12th, Brandon Jaberko starts 13th. Right now the second. He will start 14th. Dakota Stephen Bowman rallied to a 15th finish on the last one, so he'll start 15th. Gary Champion starts 16th. Stephen Waller, he'll start 17th. Rod Flagg, 18th. Ramon Evans, he will start in the 19th position. Brandon Cruz Monsivais starts 20th. Kelly Dahl and Rodney Wofford will finish out the 21st and 22nd position. However, the last four drivers, they will have to start from the pits.
And as the pace truck is off coming out of turn 2 right now, Coop, I'm going to be looking forward to seeing that 20 machine of Derek Walker put on some of that magic that he did in segment 1 once again. He's been pretty dominant for the first segment. He led every single lap of the segment so far, so I'm going to be looking towards him to be making something going on here. Seth the Merchant, Casey Malone, they've been up there, especially that 00 of Xavier Andrews, as everybody's starting trying to figure themselves out here as the segment 2 is getting ready to go underway.
Yeah, we watched the 20 have really good restarts with its new restart where it really makes it a lot easier for if you're the leader before the caution, you're able to really kind of resume where you left off. But look at that 32. He got up a few positions in the stage one. So definitely look at that guy to be making some headroom and being there to really go toe-to-toe with that 20 of Derek Walker, as this one's almost set to be ready to go.
And we are getting ready to go here as the pace truck is entering turn 3. For the start of segment 2, Derek Walker going to be leading him down to this green flag. Corey Henry, as we mentioned, down a few spots. Green flag out in the air as Derek Walker almost jumped it just a little bit. Pace truck wasn't down and away just quite yet. You saw him check up just a little bit, but he's down and away. Seth the Merchant going to be looking to try to get back on the inside. Not going to be able to do it as they go off into turn 3.
Yeah, top 5, 6, 7 drivers all spread out. Looks like a few of these drivers are going to be coming out of pit road here, and so they're going to be one lap down. You're going to see them join the field. It's going to be a little hairy for these leaders as they're going to actually encounter them right now. They're going to go too wide for that lead. The Merchant's on the inside. He's actually going to be able to take that lap, and he's going to lead the first time tonight.
Yeah, and we saw Derek Walker have to basically check up a little bit on that high side for Rodney Walker that allowed Seth the Merchant as a caution is out now here. During segment 2.
Gary Champion is on it. Oh, goodness gracious. He had a little bit of a flip right there after he was already flipped over. Looks like he tried to spin the tires and just flipped that car, so it'll have to go down pit road. Replay is going to be coming up on your screen. It looked like he just got into the looks like he just got in the outside as there's a lot of calamity in front of him. Got right into Grand Jaberco, almost came out and then got hit right after that. Actually, it looks like he just got on his side, and then it looks like the dirt in his tires kind of spun enough to make him flip over.
Yeah, definitely full head of steam on that 18 car. Came right into Brandon Traberco. But Coop, we have a new leader for the first time tonight, and the first time a lead change has happened here tonight at all. Seth the Merchant taking that lead from Derek Walker, and nothing else has really changed out through your top 5 except for that, top position. So Seth the Merchant did something right on that start to get Derek Walker's number.
Oh yeah, when he went up a few positions from that last race, or from that last stage, I should say, it was definitely clear that he was doing something that no one else was really able to do. He did fairly well last week. It looked like he finished in that he finished that last race at 16th, but he got a couple stage points going 2x2 right now. But that 32 has definitely found something that he didn't have last week, and it looks like he's found something that nobody actually has right now. And he was the first one to take the lead away from the 20 as he started 5th from that first stage.
And it also adds a new dynamic in here, Coop. It's going to be the first time anybody else, other than that 20 machine of Derek Walker, has commanded the start with that new restart rule. Everybody's been kind of used to how Derek Walker is running the field, going on the pace truck, going a little bit before the pace truck on the start of segment 2. So it's going to be different to see Seth the Merchant start his pace truck, pulls off this time. He's on the loud pedal, gets on the 2 wheels just a little bit. He hit the gas so hard, Seth the Merchant down and waits. Now Derek Walker has to battle the 92 of Casey Malone.
Casey Malone is not going to be able to last that long, though. He still has a bumper on him, and the 20 car is going to be able to go to the outside, but that bottom is pretty still in there. It's not slicked off just quite yet as the race has rolled on, and they're still going to be battling 2x2, and so the 20 is going to be able to get the push off, but don't look behind. It looks like the 90 is going to actually have a better push this time out of the corner. Still side by side, coming out of turns number 4, coming down the start finish line here.
And you got Xavier Andrews right behind him, basically lurking in the back, just trying to wait for a little bit of a mistake there. Looks like Derek Walker's going to have the 92 cleared. Not yet this time, maybe this time, but now the 92 of Casey Malone's going to worry about the 00 of Xavier Andrews as they're going off into turn 1. He's still there like the thorn in the side of Derek Walker. The 92 of Casey Malone will not go away.
And look at the battle behind them with the 12 of Corey Henry on the outside of Joel. And it looks like the Joel, that 122 machine, is not going to be able to get him. And it looks like the 12 really wants to go on the outside of the 711 of William Evans as well, as there's also 2 wide behind them. 17 trying to get in and maybe get to the bottom as they are starting to spun around a little bit. 36 of Nathan Davis. He was a huge mover, started at the very end of the stage 1, and he's all the way up to 8th place. Caution flag is going to stop this racing action here right now, though.
Yeah, and it's going to be the 88 machine. That's Alex Bowman stopped on the front straightaway there. It looks like as Brandon Traberco made a little bit of contact with him, sent him into the wall, and over and over that 88 machine went across the start-finish line. So Alex Bowman, trouble here for that driver. Only 12 laps completed in this race so far.
Yeah, and that's not the first incident we've seen that 21 be involved in. In fact, I think he's been in every single incident tonight. So whether he was the hammer or the nail on whether the caution came out is going to be determined by race control. So we will see what happens with that 21. But it looks like he pushed real hard in the corner and just pushed him completely out of the way as if he wasn't even there.
Yeah, Coop, and it's going to give Derek Walker just a little bit more time to figure out what Seth the Merchant's really doing here. We saw him go strictly on the pace truck that time, and you can see that Derek Walker's not liking being on the other side of being able to choose when you go. And with this new restart rule, he had to battle with Casey Malone there for a long time, and it allowed Seth the Merchant to basically drive away from the pack after a while. And then you had Xavier Andrews catch back up, and you mentioned another battle with the 12 of Corey Henry and Alan Royal. So it's basically whoever gets out front is doing well, but if you can at least time the restart just right as we double it up this time, you're going to be pretty well off.
Yeah, not surprised by some of these guys going 2 by 2 now. Get the white flag here to come, and Seth the Merchant will get that start again. But don't forget about the few guys behind him. The top 5 looks really strong off of what we saw earlier in stage 1.
As we get set to go back green here, short pace laps here for these dirt races, as we mentioned in segment 1. Pace truck going to be able to pull off here, and we're going to get ready to go back green once again. Seth the Merchant on the gas once again, getting that wheelie up there, going through turns 1 and 2. Now Casey Malone going to be battling with Derek Walker once again, and I think he may actually have it this time as he clears Derek Walker. Now Xavier Andrews is going to be looking to the inside.
Yeah, looks like the 92 got around him. The 20 is really having an issue. He's starting to fall back a little bit, getting taken advantage of by some of these guys. 3 wide right behind them. The 7-11's actually going to get in the 36. They're going to go wheel to wheel. Actually hit just a little bit. There's still 3 wide. Looks like we got a car around. It's going to be the BB blue car right there in the back, and that's going to bring out the caution flag. That's going to be Juan Lopez, and he's in the fence. Wow.
Yeah, definitely not the start we're wanting here in segment 2, and definitely not the start these drivers are wanting to get into, as it looks like Juan Lopez maybe made contact with either Greg Hooks or Trevor Trigo there, as he just puts it up there on the tire barrier and just basically gets stuck and drives it off. So very, very rough start as we see it off to a really rough start here in segment 2.
Yeah, he got right up on this on that tire barrier right there and just went up and over. We've seen that twice tonight. Once in the B main with Alex Bergeron, and then now with Juan Lopez. Seen a lot of up and overs tonight, but the second time we've seen these tire barrier become an issue. I don't think it's something that's really common, but definitely seen a lot of that tonight. So it's definitely been a really common factor as the night has rolled on. Some really noteworthy drivers right now. Nathan David has come up 5 positions from where he started. We cannot ignore the fact that 36 driver is coming up. He started really far back in the first stage, and he's up 5 more. That 36, he's making a statement that it doesn't matter where you start, it's where you finish. And he may not get any stage points from the first race, but he got 1 point from the first stage. But my, that 36 is absolutely on fire, and he needs to get a good stage finish here so he can qualify and good for the third. And it's going to be pretty impressive to see what that 36 does.
Yeah, definitely. If he's going to do something here, Coop, he's going to have to do it fast, because we're doubling it up with 15 laps to go when we get the green flag. Or no, it's 15 laps to go now. When we get the green flag, it'll be 14 laps to go. So time is definitely a factor here. These races, these segments, I should say, go by super fast as we get ready to approach turn 3 for the 3rd time tonight under yellow. As we get ready to go back green, Seth the Merchant's still going to be your leader, and he's got to be loving these cautions because he can just drive away as the pace truck is getting ready to pull off. Seth the Merchant waits a little bit. Now he's on the gas. Now Derek Walker going to try to do the same thing that Casey Malone did to him last time and basically try to slide job. Not going to be able to do it this time. Casey Malone going to battle off as they go down into turn 3.
Yeah, another side-by-side. These two have been racing a lot since Seth Merchant has become the leader, and doesn't look like the 20 is going to be able to get the job done. Look at the 36 on the inside. Nathan Davis, just talked about him. He's going to try and get Xavier Andrews out of the way, and not going to quite get it done. Top 6-7's all strung out. Looks like we got some double wide battle. Brandon Chaburko almost got involved. Looks like Kelly Dahl gets into him and moves him out of the way, and that's going to be, looks like the 21's going to have a hard time getting up through the field. So Kelly Dahl moved him up a couple positions as he runs right there in the Chubs.
Yeah, definitely. We look up here. Casey Malone was able to fend off the 20 of Derek Walker, basically get some breathing room on that driver as Derek Walker trying to power back on the outside, maybe make that outside groove a little bit more prominent here at Coop, as he's trying to do everything he can to get around that 92 and basically be up there. Now we go back at least a position, and you mentioned him during the caution. The 36 of Nathan Davis already looking on the inside of the 00 of Xavier Andrews, almost made some contact with the left rear. Not going to be able to do the pass this time. Nathan Davis is on the move.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's hit his ceiling, but he's definitely met some stiffer competition than from the middle of the pack. Definitely gotten up there in the top 5. Look at the top 3 right now. 20's on the inside of Casey Malone once again, and we talked about how the bottom of the track is going to start slicking off after the first stage, and it's you're definitely seeing that 20's not going to be able to get as good of a run, and he's maybe going to have to try a different approach as we're getting closer and closer to 5 laps to go here, and I just have a feeling that Seth Merchant's probably going to win this race if he can continue to just keep striding out, and his lead's getting much bigger, almost a second, and looks like those 3 of you behind him, they're going to just try and get a couple more positions before this one's over.
Yeah, definitely. You want to get as many positions as you can here, Coop, and start the best that you can for that final segment 3, which is only coming up in a short 5 laps this time by Seth the Merchant, commanding the field over a second of a lead now, it looks like, as he's crossing the finish line for 5 laps to go. Casey Malone still out in front of Derek Walker. Not the segment that Derek Walker wanted to. He was definitely my pick at the beginning of the race, and I'm definitely going to stick with that, but he's definitely fallen off here.
Yeah, everyone's starting to get a little bit more spaced out, which is what a lot of these top 10 drivers want to see. They all want points, they all want stage points, but you can't forget about the few drivers behind them that at least want as good a starting position for the final stage, or maybe to get a few more points in before this one's over. And that top 10 is starting to really spread itself out. Look at right outside of it, though. It looks like Kelly Dahl's going to try and get another position before this one's over. And actually, he moved back a couple positions, and that's a 2-wide battle right there for 13th, 12th, actually. Dakota Bowman's going to join it, and that might be the end of the race with a caution flag ensuing.
And I think that is gonna do it. That's gonna bump Seth the Merchant is gonna be your segment 2 winner that it looks like. Lap 35, who that looks like here it's gonna be Ramon Evans once again, as we try to get the replay up on your screen. He was coming through, got a little bit checked up by that 87 of Ray Rittenauer and just caught the outside wall and was sent careening down the front straightaway.
Yeah, broken axle on that machine definitely ended that guy's night, but you got to give it to Seth the Merchant. He did a really good job and kept his nose real clean.
Definitely, as they're coming out of the corner this time to collect the checkered flag for segment 2. Seth the Merchant's going to be your winner. That's going to be Casey Malone in second, Derek Walker's third, Xavier Andrews fourth, Nathan Davis fifth, sixth is Alan Doyle, seventh Corey Henry, eighth belongs to Greg Hooks, ninth William Evans, and rounding out your top 10, that's Trevor Trigo.
Yeah, I think the results are going to be a little bit skewed here, as looks like Casey Malone did get above some of these guys, so we're just going to have to give it as it stands. Kelly Dahl is going to finish 11th, Dakota Bowman finishing 12th, and 13th, Rod Flagg. Brandon Chaburko finishes 14th. Stephen Walker finishes 15th. Ray Rittenauer is going to finish in that 16th position. Brandon Cruz Montevais, he'll finish 18th. Ramon Evans, 19th. Gary Champion, he'll finish 20th. Juan Lopez and Alex Bowman will finish out the field 21st and 22nd.
And that's a look at your full field rundown. Of course, we'll be back for your segment 3 feature grid, but right now we're going to step aside for a little bit, throw it to commercial break while we get ready for segment 3 coming up next.
Get ready, going green. Green, green, green.
Racing, you wanted the best, you got them four abreast, often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show under the world of outlaws.
So cool, yeah. Nate, what are you working on at the moment?
So I'm working on the animation for the game. We're working on getting pit crews fully developed, and that involves a lot of moving parts. So I'm going in and making sure that each moving part can dovetail smoothly into the next one, so that when you pull in for a pit stop, it looks like the real thing, as opposed to a bunch of jumbled pieces that suddenly stop and then go and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so cool, but why aren't you working on the time model? Nothing?
Welcome back to Volusia for the third stage of the A main here tonight for the Volusia Speedway Park 90 here at Volusia, and we have quite a flip-sided race here today. We had one driver win stage 1, that was Walker, and then we had one driver win stage 2, and that was Seth the Merchant. We haven't seen that all this time this season. We saw one driver sweep it. We saw one driver partially win 2 of the stages, but not a third. There might be something that looming in the air. Maybe a third driver might come into this picture here as this race unfolds. Of course, for the final race tonight, we want to, of course, welcome everyone. If you joining in late, myself, Aussie Coop, alongside Chris Murdoch and Cisco Scarmuzza in a production trailer, bringing it all to you. 40 laps will be this last stage here tonight, Chris.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting to see what goes on here. You know, got a lot of new people up on the top of the board for warm-up here while we wait for everything to get settled out. You know, got this Dakota Stephen Bowman now as warm-ups just wrapping up, and, you know, Seth the Merchant in second. Seth the Merchant, your segment 2 winner, and he basically drove away from the field once he was able to get in front of Derek Walker.
Yeah, a lot of times you can get a really big jump on these guys as the leader, but it seemed that Seth the Merchant was really able to do just that and be able to pull away. So at this moment, we do want to go across our segment of tonight's race and look at our iRacing third segment feature grid, brought to you by iRacing, the leading online racing simulation. Developed from the beginning as a centralized racing and competition service, iRacing organizes, hosts, and officiates races on virtual tracks all around the world. In the fast-paced world of esports, iRacing is the one-stop shop for online racing, with officialized sanctioned racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, World of Outlaws, and many, many more. Seth the Merchant, he is going to be your pole winner and winner of the segment 2, so he'll start right there. Derek Walker, segment 1 winner, starts second place. Xavier Andrews third. Nathan Davis, look at him, he's going to start P4. Alan Joyle starts 5th. Corey Henry 6th. Starting in the 7th position, Greg Hooks. William Evans starts 8th. Trevor Trigo, he's going to start in the 9th place. And Rodney Wofford rounds out the top 10.
That 99 machine of Kelly Delaware, we've seen him most of the race starting from tonight. That's going to be 11th place Dakota Stephen Bowman, 12th. Rod Flag 13th. Brandon Chaburko 14th. Stephen Waller 15th. Red Rittenauer 16th. 17th belongs to Casey Malone. 18th, Brandon Cruz Monsivais, Raymond Evans, 19th, and rounding out your top 20, the 88 of Alex Bowman.
That's been a look at your iRacing third feature grid. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities, visit iRacing.com to sign up today. For a limited time now, you can visit iRacing.com/World of Outlaws and take advantage of some exclusive promos and get yourself iRacing with a 1-year membership for half off, or you can simply try it out for 3 months for less than $5. Again, that's iRacing.com/World of Outlaws. And speaking of World of Outlaws, definitely going to be getting going here tonight on a similar feature with the Play in the Mud Dirt Series third stage of the A main. Seth the Merchant gonna lead these guys up to the front. Derek Walker, Xavier Andrews, that's your top 3. Don't forget about that 36 though. He's been coming up the field so slowly, it was almost weird to see him in the top 5 that last segment, so don't forget about him. And as Chris said, this could be anybody's race. My money's on the 32, his is on the 20, and the pace truck is going to come down to the safety of pit road, and the 32 of Seth the Merchant's on his way. He actually gets in the pit wall right there on the start. Got a little too greedy right there, and that's going to junk up the whole front end of that machine, and we're green for the third segment of the A main.
And we saw him do it throughout the entirety of the last segment. He was able to hit the gas so hard that he popped the wheelie. That time the wheelie got just a little bit out of control there, Coop, and he sent him into the inside of the pit wall. It doesn't look to be affecting him too much as he's still out front, but it allowed Derek Walker to basically stay right behind him. We normally see people who start up the front basically drive away at the start of each segment, but this time Derek Walker going to be right on the back bumper of Seth the Merchant. So basically a little bit of a setback for that 32 machine.
still doing fairly well as we're going to wrap around lap 3, completing 3 laps led for that 32 machine. And I'd say that's a little bit of more of a mind game that the 32 has to play with, knowing or not knowing if he has damage or not. But the 20 car tried to do everything he could. He didn't know that was an issue, but was able to get side by side with him. Looks like we do have some side by side battle between the number 98 of Hooks and Evans. Kelly Dahl's also there. Look at the 17 get really washed up there in the track, and he's going to lose quite a bit of positions. That's Trevor Trigo, and there's going to be lots of battles, and they're starting to clear up here at turns number 4.
Yeah, and you mentioned him a little bit in segment 2, and you mentioned him at the start of this segment here. Nathan Davis going to be looking towards the inside of Xavier Andrews. This time Xavier Andrews going to shut the door. That's going to run the 36 a little bit wide, and he's going to run into the 12 of Corey Henry. Corey Henry going to be on the outside of that 36 machine. Now, not going to be able to make the pass this time. Everybody settles out here, but we're getting a nice 3-car battle for that 3rd place position.
Yeah, it looked like Xavier Andrews had a little bit of a hiccup and then was able to really get back on track, no pun intended, but that 00 in company behind are actually falling off the 2 guys up front, DeMerchant and Walker, and those 2 guys are kind of just pulling away. Those 2 have been really the class of the field all night, and unless anything happens between them 2, it does look like it's going to be their race to lose. Looks like Nathan Davis is falling off the 00 Xavier Andrews just a little bit and getting in the clutches of Corey Henry, who's had a little bit of an up and down day as well. He's going to go to the outside, try that line a little bit, maybe try the crossover. We'll just have to see. And now we'll forget about the 122. He's there as well.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody's battling all over the track as the 122 machine, you just mentioned him, got a little bit too overzealous there and just nailed that inside wall going into turns 3. Sent him around. Caution's going to be out here. We'll get the replay up for you as quickly as we can.
Yeah, it actually got in the inside wall a little harder than it stuck a little bit better than I thought it was going to as well. It turned in about the same way everyone else did, but at the very last second just started rotating a lot more than I think he was anticipating, and so he's actually going to have to park it for the rest of the night. His night is over, and he's going to finish well out of the top 15, was just there in the top 5, so a big disappointment for that guy, and the show rolls on, but the 30 or the 122 is going to have to park it for the night.
Yeah, definitely first caution out once again here, only 12 laps into this segment. This time is Seth the Merchant trying to wait for that pace truck to come back around. As it comes back around now, they're going to rejoin with that pace truck. It's going to be interesting to see this. They're starting off really good. There's a lot of racing going on. Everybody trying to get as much as they can. This segment just a little bit longer, 5 laps longer than all the previous segments, so they do have a little bit more time, but with how short this track is, 12 laps is a lot of laps here.
Yeah, it's a good chunk. We're already past the 1/4 mark of the final segment of this race. We're going to go 2 by 2 and go green with, it looks like a little bit under or above 35 or 25. I can't do math. 25 laps to go. It'll be about 26, 27 as they get to the line. Top 3 is as was, actually top 4 is as was, and that 5th place driver knocked out of this one, and everyone just kind of moves up a notch. Kelly Dahl up a couple positions, and you got Dakota Bowman, and that B main winner had an issue earlier as well as Kelly Dahl, so expect those 2 drivers to be maybe a little bit easier on the throttle and on the racing groove. Pace truck is going to come down pit road. 32 is going to get a good launch and not hit the tire barrier for the first restart of segment number 3. He's got himself a good restart. Battles is for 2nd place, now 4th.
Yeah, he was a little bit more careful that time, Coop. You didn't see him pop as big of a wheelie this time, and he was able to steer away from that inside pit wall. He's out to a really, really decent lead, better than he was the last time, already 3/10 ahead of that 20 of Derek Walker. Derek Walker's got his own problems to worry about as the 00 of Xavier Andrews is all over, diving down to the inside, almost got to the inside wall, which we just saw the 122 do. Everybody getting really close. The cars are really sticking down there on that inside line.
A little bit 3 wide was the action that was really to watch there for a little bit, but it definitely got itself a little bit sorted out right there, right inside the top 10. Look at the number 98 trying to do a crossover on the 36 of Nathan Davis. It's not going to quite work out. He's not going to have the power off, and the 711 tried to get into him. Looked like a little bit of contact between the 36 and the 98 happened right out of turns number 2, and 36 is going to really power into the corner and have a good exit as well. So that battle has now dissipated just a little bit, but expect that 98 to really try and power again. The 36 looks like he's lost something that he had earlier on the race, lost 1 position from the start. And look at the 711, he's trying on the inside of the 98. That's Greg Hooks.
Yeah, Greg Hook's trying every lane possible to try to make his way around this 36 of Nathan Davis, but he can't really go wherever he wants to, because wherever he tries to go, that 7-11 of William Evans is already there, already thinking one step ahead of that 98, so it's really got the 98 trapped in a bit of a box here. He's in the middle of this. Is he going to dive down? Nathan Davis gets a little bit strung out there going into turns 2, and now Greg Hooks looks to be making the pass now.
Yellow flag on the front straightaway. It appears to be maybe Ramon Evans again. The 83 is having a bad night gone worse, and see him junked up, just hit the outside wall again, and so that car is going to be up and over. I've seen that car do that about 3 times now, so third time's the charm maybe for that guy, and or not the charm really, ineffective as that was, but an 83 once again in the outside wall.
Yeah, definitely. I mentioned it at the beginning of the broadcast, and I kind of stole the information from Christopher Bell back when he first released that dirt video of William Grove in the sprint cars, just showing that turn 4 would be the trouble turn, and that's what we've seen for Ramon Evans here in that 83 machine. Going to be just a little bit too much speed coming off the corner, and gets in the outside wall and even into the 54 Brandon Cruz Montevice. So gonna still have to watch out for turns 4 there, as nothing's really changed up front. Still, we got Seth the Merchant still leading, Derek Walker, Xavier Andrews, Corey Henry, and Greg Hooks round out your top 5.
I was watching that battle up front, though, between those front two who have been the class of the field. They say the cream rises to the top. Well, those two have kind of already been there. Of course, Seth the Merchant started 5th on the starting grid of the first segment and has really worked up 4 positions. And those two are getting a lot closer. Derek Walker was really starting to pounce in on the Merchant. I was gonna say something before that caution flag happened, which was why I was able to see exactly what happened. But expect that 20 to really give a run to that 32. The longer the run goes, I just see that 20 having a small resurgence. Although I'd say my money's still on Seth, and you still have your money on Derek. It's going to be interesting which one of these two really gets a good start. Although you still can't, on these restarts, you still can't deny anyone behind them from having a good shot at it. These two have just been up front all night long, and it's getting closer to see who it's going to be. We're already over halfway on this one, and the pace truck is on its way down to pit road, and Seth the Merchant pops a wheel. He gets across the start-finish line first and has plenty of room to run with it.
Yeah, definitely 16 laps to go here. Now Coop is Derek Walker still trying to battle off the 00 of Xavier Andrews. Corey Henry almost got in the back of that 00 in that 12 machine, and there's about a 3-car stack up behind them. Greg Hooks, William Evans, Nathan Davis. William Evans gets into the back end of, looks like Greg Hooks, and he's all over the place. Caution's going to be out here once again.
Yeah, really close call for a lot of these drivers, but the 7-11 of William Evans got right into the right rear of the 98 and turned him around and almost saved it. Got into Kelly Dahl as well, and then just pounded the 17. And no one went around quite yet, but the caution was thrown, I think, a little bit prematurely, as that 7-11 almost went round, but did keep it steady. So no cars junked up this time, but a little bit of action on the back straightaway.
I think what kind of happened there when the caution flag came out, Coop, is I think it was race control's way of preventing calamity, because that 7-11 really never got it under control until they really threw it out and everybody started slowing down. That William Evans was all over the place. He got some contact between Greg Hooks there and was basically all shooken up back through the back straightaway and into a few other drivers. So I wouldn't necessarily say it was an unnecessary caution, but a good call by race control to prevent a really big wreck that could have happened.
Yeah, most definitely. And look at Casey Malone in that 92. He's gone up quite a bit, almost up 10 spots from the start of this stage. And you do get points for each stage that you get in the top 10. 10 points down to 1 point for the top 10 positions. But it does, I think, matter a little bit more when you can finish out stage 3 on top. You get a total of 50 points if you win the race, and if you get stage wins, all of them, you get a total of 70. We talked about that. Derek Walker got such a huge lead over the field in the point standing, and it's only points. There's no chase, there's no playoff. It's purely points. So that 20 cars in a really good position. Even a second place tonight would be really good for him, as he's already won one stage and got second in the other. Although there's a lot of other hungry drivers out here that want as many as they can. That top 10's looking really strong right now. And the green flag is going to be out. Seth the Merchant's going to get a good start. Not as good as he's got, but there's a humongous junk of people right behind him. It's getting really dicey behind him. Looks like the 99 is going to get a little out of shape. And they're going to get really, this not top 7 or so, they're getting really close there in turns number 3 and 4.
Yeah, definitely Corey Henry able to power on the outside of Xavier Andrews. 10 laps to go now, Coop. As we're going into turn 1, Xavier Andrews, calamity corner right there in turns 2 as a whole bunch of drivers get into it, still connecting. The 88 of Alex Bowman getting contact now. Everybody's still keeping it straight. I'm surprised out of all the contact that was in that corner that everybody basically kept it straight. Green flag here.
Yeah, for the caution out earlier, it was definitely interesting that they were able to keep it straight. But a lot of these drivers, looks like we got a calamity corner number 4. 2 drivers heavy contact, and Jeremy Chaburko is out of it. And I don't believe we have a caution. He's still on the front straightaway, just sitting there. And it does look like we'll probably get our caution here.
Yeah, definitely gonna be looking back to see what really happened there. Brandon Chaburko got a little contact. Kelly Dahl basically ran right up into 21 of Brandon Chaburko, sent him right into the outside of turn 4, and basically junked Brandon Chaburko for the rest of the race here.
Yeah, not to mention the 99 probably has a lot of damage earlier. That all started the lap before, though. The 90, all those guys were all really, really close together. And when it came down to it, there's a lot of drivers that were slower because of damage, and then that 99 was a lot faster than a lot of the guys in front of them, and then just met there in the middle. We got only a little bit to go left, though. Yeah, they're going to be under or 5 laps to go here at the line. We'll get another restart. Seth the Merchant's going to lead this one, and it's going to get really close. 2 wide, or 2 by 2 is what it's going to be this time. And we're going to get our final restart on the night, Chris.
Yeah, definitely. And this one should be the most exciting. This is the last segment and the last restart you'll get for the night. The last green flag you'll see. So it'll be interesting to see how these drivers treat it. I'm going to be looking at that 20 of Derek Walker to be making a move. He's been able to get 32's number a little bit on these restarts. I expect him to throw everything at it except for the kitchen sink here, just trying to get around that 32 and reclaim the lead once again.
Looks like Pace Truck's going to go around one more time. It looked like they all got doubled up. I had got psyched out by the drivers. They're just ready to go 2 by 2. They're really hungry to get this one, to get a win maybe, or to get as good of a points finish as you can. DeMerchant's going to lead them once again. Ever since he got the lead in that second stage, it's really been all him. That 32 machine has been really strong. But the first 2 drivers have been the 32 and the 20 the majority of the night, except for really at the start. So it's kind of a battle between these 2. We've been talking about them all night. Let's see which one comes out on top. If it's either of them at the end of this one, Pace Truck for the final time will come down, and the green flag will come out. Good start, but also a good start by the inside of 12, Corey Henry. Look at him. He's going to make it. He's going to run right at the 20. He's going to get in the outside wall, and the 36 is going to try and make a little bit of it as well. 32 is out and about. We're going to get 2 laps to go at the stripe.
Yeah, this could definitely be wrapped up for Brandon Chaburko. All he has to do is complete it. 4 more times, caution's out. That's going to wrap it up completely. The race is going to be over. Caution's going to end at Seth the Merchant. Your winner, Corey Henry, bumps up to 2nd.
Yeah, the 87 was involved in that one. That's going to be Ray Rittenauer, the 2nd. Big junk right there in the front straightaway. Many cars involved, and definitely not the way you want to end it, but I think you'll take it any way you can get. The 32 of Seth the Merchant all he has to do is go from the back straightaway to the front straightaway under caution conditions, and he'll get his first win of the season. He'll get his second stage win of the season, and I'm sure that number, SWAT 32, did all right last week, but definitely turned it around, figured something out, and he's going to go to victory lane. Give it to the 32 of Seth the Merchant in that target car.
And how about that 12 machine of Corey Henry right there at the end, Coop? Basically capitalizing on a little bit of a mistake by Derek Walker. He got a little bit ran a little bit high there in turns 1 and 2, and he basically was able to capitalize on it, pass him, and get home second right before that caution came out.
Yeah, 32. Seth the Merchant having a little bit more fun out there. He kept wanting to run out there, and he's still running around the track having a little bit of fun. And we'll be able to talk to him and your other top finishers here: Seth the Merchant, Corey Henry, and Derek Walker. Not exactly the order I was expecting to see these guys in, but nonetheless, Corey Henry did kind of make a little bit of an upset for these top three. Commercial.
Yeah, definitely. Coop, Seth the Merchant definitely was your pick. You beat me this week, Coop. He definitely deserved it after segment 2 was over. It was very, very hard fought and a very well-deserved win, but my pick still finished in the podium, so I'm going to consider that kind of a win as well.
Well, as Seth the Merchant does some weird things with that car, we'll take a small commercial break, catch our breath from all the action that happened, and see what... we'll just talk to these guys as they come back. You've been watching LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
There are 3 different paths if you want to call yourself a world champion of sim racing. NASCAR, open wheels, or endurance racing. But no matter which one you take, you can guarantee that the journey will always be tough, which few will ever complete. The iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, the premier road racing series in sim racing, started with a new car taking center stage. Then, it was Martin Kroenke resisting any challenge thrown at him to break the 5-year stranglehold of Gregor Hutu as being world champion. These drivers and teams are not just competing for pride, they're competing for money. And with over $20,000 in prizes for each of the series up for grabs, drivers really do put it all on the line.
The NASCAR Beginner for Series, powered by iRacing, is the premier NASCAR esports series featuring the cars and tracks from the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. The 2016 campaign saw a return to the top of the mountain by Ray Alfalla as a 3-time Oval World Champion. The march to that championship was not easy, though, despite the fact that Ray Alfalla took home the most points in series history. It just also happened to be the tightest championship fight we had ever seen. These guys are set for the 2017 campaign.
The Blancpain GT Series hosts the top GT3 endurance teams in sim racing, with groups of 3 or more drivers sharing the wheel. This is a championship you can't win alone, and you need the same determination, passion and drive from your teammates to be successful. They often say that it takes just one mistake to lose a championship, and in team racing, it may not be your mistake that costs you the win. Last season, VRS Coanda Simsport won the championship by a single point. This year, who will step up to the plate?
These are the iRacing Esport World Championships, the pinnacle of sim racing competition. Catch it all season long with live coverage on iracing.com/live.
Get ready, going green. Green, green, green.
The dust has settled here at Volusia Speedway Park as we crowned Seth the Merchant the winner of tonight's race, the third of 16 in the 2017 campaign to win the Playin in the Mud Sprint Car Series Championship. And we'll go through your LSRTV full field rundown. Seth the Merchant gets that first place. That was also worthy. He gets 60 points. I actually believe he got second, so he's going to get a total of 69 points at the end of this one. Corey Henry, he'll finish second place. Derek Walker finishes third. Nathan Davis finishes fourth. Greg Hooks finishes fifth place. A big push at the very end by Dakota Bowman to finish sixth place. William Evans seventh. Casey Malone finishes eighth. Rodney Wofford ninth, and 10th place goes to Trevor Trigo.
11th belongs to Xavier Andrews. 12th, Kelly Adolph. 13th, Alex Bowman. 14th belongs to that 83 of Ramon Evans. 15th, Stephen Waller. 16th, Ray Rittenauer. Brandon Cruz Monservice finishes 17th. Your last car on the lead lap. The 21 machine of Brandon Chaburko comes from 18th. 19th, Alan Joyle. And Rod Flagg rounds out your full field.
Well, as we're trying to get your winner and your third place finisher on at the track, or just getting a little bit of difficulty getting to them, but we'll go to your second place finisher, Corey Henry, who Chris Murdoch has caught up with.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with Corey Henry, who made an amazing last lap pass through the to get it. Corey finished second here tonight. How did it feel out there tonight? What was the track like?
To be honest, it was pretty much one groove, at least at the front. If you had the lead, you were going to set sail and really dictate where people were going to have to move to pass you. I know there was a big controversy with guys that were a lap down in the first segment coming out of the pit road to begin segment 2, and it jumbled up the lineup. And I know Derek was pretty upset with the way that turned out. So we've got some work to do as far as the rules package goes. But yeah, it was a fun night, but just too many cautions.
And we had a whole lot of firsts here tonight, a whole lot of rule changes, one being which the leader got to choose when they were going to go, and there's been a lot of back and forth rope playing behind this, and we always like to get the driver's opinion when there's a big rule change like that. How do you feel about that rule change? Do you feel like it's going to help the series further down the line?
Overall, I do think it'll help, but like I said, tonight, the track was just so far gone on the bottom where we really weren't able to see side-by-side racing at the front. We started to work the outside line in a little bit towards the end of the race, but it was going to take a few more green flag runs to actually work it in to where we could make some passes on the outside and get some sliders going on the bottom. But yeah, I think in the long run that will help out the league, especially if you're the leader. You're going to love it every time. But as we've seen in weeks past, I know last week at USA we had a few hiccups, especially me on the start with the green flag in sim kind of goes out a little late. And when the leaders are playing games, guys 3rd, 5th, 7th on back, they get into trouble and start running up on top of each other. So that should clean that issue up, if anything.
Yeah, and before we let it go here, one more question. That last restart in segment 3, you had an incredible move to pass Derek Walker there to claim that second place position. What was going through your mind pacing around the track? You get some short pace laps here, but it does give you a lot of time to think. Did you know what you were going to go and do going into that restart? Did you know that you were going to be able to pass Derek Walker, or did you just throw everything you had at it?
I just threw everything I had at it, to be honest. I was trying to lay back to get a little bit of a run on Seth, and it was one of those quick restarts where the green actually flashed before Seth went, so it kind of threw us all through a loop there. And I hate that I think I got into Derek. I put my right rear into him and pushed him above the berm. So I didn't like doing that, and I apologize to Derek for that. But yeah, it was just pretty much throw in the towel, see what we get.
That is right. Corey, before we let you go, we're going to give you one final chance, give you sponsors, shout-outs, anybody you like to thank. Who got it done here for that 12 machine tonight?
Well, start off first, I always have to thank my dad for watching live on LSRTV back at home, and thank everybody at DHI. And I also want to give a shout-out to last week's winner, Jordan Erickson. He wasn't able to make it out with us tonight, so wish he was out here running with us. And thanks to all of you here at LSR for putting on a great show as always, and Rod Flagg for bringing this out.
And there you have it, guys. That's your second place finisher, Corey Henry. Corey, congratulations on that last lap little pass there for getting that second place, and we hope to be talking to you here soon.
Yep, thank you guys. See you later.
All right, and that's Corey Henry, the 12 machine. Coop, I'm going to toss it back over to you. I think you're going to be standing by with Derek Walker now for the interview.
Yeah, standing next to Derek Walker, trying to get him over here, and I do not believe that we're going to be able to speak to Derek right now, or to Seth at this point. And if that changes, we'll definitely have a little bit more airtime to do that. But while we wait, we do want to have all the folks at home check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and of course subscribe to us on YouTube, and make sure you follow with us on all that stuff. Also, we've had a pretty weird week. We've had yesterday the Cars Tour, today Playing the Mud, tomorrow Super Speedway Cup, and then United Sim Racing BNC Landscaping on Saturday for the first cut of the championship. It's something you really don't want to miss. But I do have Derek Walker now. Derek, number 20, you come up a little bit short from what you thought you were going to have today. Third place. Talk about your race. You won the first, got second in the second, and then got third in the third.
Yeah, sorry about the technical difficulties I was having there, Austin. I'm having some issues here, but I think we got it figured out. Yeah, all in all, it was a great night. I mean, taking home the first in the heat race, and then first in the first segment, and what was it, second or third in the other two. So Yeah, it was a good night of racing. It could have definitely been worse. I think I had a shot at winning it. There were some rules that were changed for this week that allowed some drivers that started from the pits to pull out on the track in front of us there, and that kind of really messed me up a little bit. But I'm not real sure what the logic behind that one was, but hopefully we'll be able to move forward from there. But congrats to Seth. I mean, he did an awesome job, and I would have loved to have had a chance to try to hold him off.
Yeah, you're doing such a good job here in this series. You're able to continue the points lead, and you've got yourself a pretty good stranglehold on the rest of the field. How does that feel to go into all these races with such a sizable lead? You had over 30 points over the rest of the field, and it continues to grow. I know you said you may miss a few races in the season, and maybe that does help you out a little bit.
Yeah, that's the biggest concern for me right now. I'm not sure how many of these races I'll be able to make. Hopefully all of them, but if not, hopefully this cushion that I'm building right now will be able to keep me in contention for the championship at the end.
Well, as always, we do thank you for the time that you give us. And before we let you go, like always, who makes it happen for you in that number 20 machine? Do you got any shout outs there for you?
Yeah, just shout out to Puma for coming on board, and this is like our second season with them, and whole shout out to our whole team, DHI, Race Fan Racing, Greg, Corey, Rodney, my buddy Nathan was running. We all finished really good there. Shout out to my sister, she was watching, my dad if he was watching, and everybody else that participates in this is great. Big shout out to you guys for your awesome broadcast you do every week with us, and huge shout out to Rod. I know this isn't easy, and we give him a lot of flack for it, but he does a great job with this league and putting up with all of our craziness. So shout out to him, and just a big thanks to everybody.
Yeah, big old league, brand new, and a lot of drivers to be behind one guy. So definitely something that definitely deserves a lot of thanks. So thanks for giving us your time as well, Derek.
Thanks, Austin. Appreciate it.
There you have it, number 20, Derek Walker, and we will not be able to get a hold of the 32, the winner, but I did get a chance to message him, and he said he wanted to thank all of the fans for coming out tonight. So a cool little tribute out there for the number 32 of Seth the Merchant. So, Chris, any last thoughts here tonight as we're about to close here at Volusia Speedway Park?
Just want to say that, anything, and we mentioned this at the top of the broadcast group, anything can happen in any one of these races, and that's what we saw here in segment 2. Seth the Merchant basically took the lead away from Derek Walker and basically carried it on from there, and even Corey Henry with those last few laps pass on Derek Walker to get that second place position. So anything can happen, and it only takes one little mess up to cause a whole chain reaction. So very, very, very happy with how this race turned out.
Well, as we close out, turn the lights off here at Volusia. We will be going to looks like it's going to be the Williams Grove Speedway. So it's going to be a little bit different here from Volusia as the oval as we know it. And we're going to give you a look at, it's a little bit like Inner USA in a certain sort of lights. And as we turn the lights off, we do want to give a thanks to Joel Real Timing for their support here on LSRTV, and to the entire team, those folks at home who make it happen behind the scenes, Evan Pasoko, Laura Lawson, Annie Kessler, and from all of us on the team today, myself, Austin Coop, Chris Murdoch, and Cisco Scarmuza, we do want to give you all a good night, and thank you for sharing some time with us here tonight at Volusia. Good night.